I'm John Tory. If you're listening to me, you're stuck in traffic on your way to work or trying to get back home to your family. As your next mayor, I will solve that problem quickly with SmartTrack, a new citywide rail line that moves the most people in the shortest time across the entire city. And we will get you on track 10 years faster than Olivia Chow. SmartTrack, making Toronto more livable, affordable, and functional.
If you live in Toronto, you know about the various delayed transit projects, from the Eglinton Crosstown to the Finch West LRT. There's another such project that hasn't gotten off the ground. On December 18, City Hall announced that of the 5 new city-built GO stations slated to be constructed as part of the SmartTrack program, only 3 will be prioritized to receive funding. Initially budgeted at around $1.5 billion for 5 stations, unforeseen challenges like supply chain disruptions and labor shortages have pushed costs up by $234 million, bringing the total to nearly $1.7 billion for 3 stations. Canada's projects routinely face some of the highest construction costs in the world. For a local comparison, the Eglinton Crosstown LRT project initial estimate of $5.3 billion has soared to $12.5 billion, while the Ontario line's costs have doubled from $10.9 billion to nearly $20 billion. Could SmartTrack have been achieved more effectively, or was it always destined to be an uphill battle? Let's find out. It wasn't just about transit, it was about ambition. SmartTrack was part of a grand vision by John Tory, who served as Mayor of Toronto from 2014 to 2023 for a better, connected, and more livable city. 2014 is the year when we expected to finish a Scarborough subway extension by 2023, and when the Eglinton Crosstown was supposed to be finished in 2021. Getting across Toronto was considered a major objective of the project. It also sought to connect more employees from the downtown to newer jobs on the outskirts of town. It was just one of many plans proposed by politicians to connect the city. SmartTrack was introduced as a game changer, connecting Toronto's neighborhoods using GO Transit rail corridors. At a price tag of $8 billion, it promised a rapid, affordable solution to the city's ever-present congestion. The project promised to create 22 new stations across the city in 7 years, making commuting faster and more accessible for residents from Etobicoke to Scarborough. For people who live across the city, getting to places was hard. I asked Moaz, who was a volunteer at Code Red TO when the project was first announced, about why this was considered a good idea.
It was a logical idea that people have been talking about for years. Let's put fast, frequent train service on the railway corridors. Back in 2014, this wasn't a project that anybody had actually come up and said, let's do this project. We have a project here. So he was, in some ways, the first person politically in Toronto who'd actually done that.
Instead of a standalone transit solution, SmartTrack is now part of GO Transit network improvements, heavily reliant on municipal funding for completion. It led to the point that a city councillor purposely put forward a motion to rename the 5 stations.
I'd like to move that City Council replace the names of the SmartTrack stations with the following names. Boondoggle Station, Too Good to Be True, Won't Get Fooled Again, Ever Get the Feeling You've Been Cheated, and Tory's Folly. My motion makes light of the fact because, quite frankly, if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying. So I encourage all of you to fight for a real future for Toronto instead of the fake ones that we get promised sometimes.
The funding breakdown includes $878 million from the city, $585 million from the federal government, and $226 million from the Ontario government. To complete the remaining 2 stations, the city manager will ask the province to increase its contribution to match the city's share. A motion from Deputy Mayor Jennifer McKelvey also encourages the province to explore additional funding opportunities with the federal government. How did the shifting costs and scaled-back plans create a situation where Toronto is footing the bill for stations that are essentially part of the GO Transit system?
In practical terms, he wasn't very good at negotiating what he wanted to negotiate. And he kept saying, we got to build SmartTrack, we got to build the Scarborough subway extension. And every time it got more costly, the project just got watered down because he was so committed to the idea, he forgot about the details and making the details possible.
So if Toronto is investing over $1 billion, why is the need for connectivity important for economic success? I wanted to get perspectives from potential riders like students.
So, hi, my name is Noah Sabah. I'm the Secretary of Advocacy at the U of T Rocket Riders. A longer commute discourages students from participating in campus activities. It also discourages them from coming to campus as often. It's a barrier to co-curricular experiences and academic success. It would be a pretty big improvement to student life. We would also allow students to choose housing that is perhaps further from campus, further from the city for many reasons. So it just gives students a lot more options for housing and a lot more opportunities to come to campus and participate in student life.
For the average rider, what are we missing out on? In a discussion with August from TTC Riders, I learned that these connections would have provided major relief on the subway network, and bus connections to a rapid transit line like SmartTrack would have been implemented.
The SmartTrack would have offered a lot of relief for people coming into downtown Toronto, but also people making trips across the city. And I think that's something critical that previous downtown relief plan didn't really solve, right? There's a lot of people who spend hours trying to just get from Scarborough to Etobicoke to North York. Commuting between the suburbs here in Toronto can be miserable. People are stuck on buses for so long. Something like SmartTrack could have helped if it were actually something that was happening.
At King Liberty Station, the city planned a new GO station on the Kitchener line, complete with an island platform and pedestrian bridges linking it to King, Sudbury, and Joe Shuster Way. It would have boosted connections to TTC buses, streetcars, and provided a direct link to Union Station. It would have been an incredibly useful connection for people living in Liberty Village who don't have a close rail connection when the rail corridor is right beside them. And another victim of the lack of funding is Finch Kennedy GO, which is on the Souville line. The station would also include TTC laybys for smoother connections and would also implement bike lanes. Finch Kennedy would have provided great time savings for people in Scarborough commuting to the downtown. However, these stations are delayed until additional funding can be secured, as the city cannot cover the rising costs alone. Until then, commuters will have to wait for this important upgrade. While the project has been scaled back to 3 stations, the remaining ones, which include East Harbour, Bloor Lansdowne, and St. Clair Old Weston, still hold real potential to improve the city's transit network. East Harbour is one of SmartTrack's most prominent stations and has now become a major asset to transit connectivity. Located just east of downtown, East Harbour is planned as a major regional hub that will connect GO Transit, SmartTrack, the Ontario Line, and TTC services. With GO expansion, Metrolinx expects a GO train arriving at East Harbour as frequently as every 5 minutes. When completed, East Harbour will be one of Toronto's largest transit hubs after Union Station and Bloor Yonge, serving just over 100,000 commuters daily, split between the Ontario Line and GO train station. Bloor Lansdowne is another key connection point on the Barrie Line. It's located near Line 2's Dundas West Station, making it a vital transfer hub for commuters who travel to and from Toronto's West End. And for those using the Barrie Line, for those coming from locations such as Caledonia, Downsview, Aurora, Newmarket, and Barrie, this is an important station to build. To unlock this potential, construction timelines need to be met. Any further delays risk leaving West End commuters underserved. St. Clair Old Weston also promises to improve access for communities in Toronto's West End. St. Clair Old Weston isn't just about commuting. It will drive redevelopment in the area, bringing new businesses, housing, and investment to surrounding neighborhoods. With careful planning, stations like St. Clair Old Weston can become more than just transit stops. They can spark lasting change for communities. The free currently funded SmartTrack stations still represent an opportunity for Toronto.
There's more opportunities for economic development because there are new transit hubs. It also supports urban growth by enabling higher density mixed-use development near the SmartTrack stations.
SmartTrack doesn't just have benefit purely for people living within Toronto to use it as a commuter system. It also has benefit for people outside Toronto who don't actually work downtown. GO, as it began, was a commuter rail system to serve the downtown, and that really needs to transform and change because there is so much potential for it to be more than that, especially if we think of it as more of a unified system with the TTC, something where there's a flat a unified single fare. People can use GO Transit or the TTC to get around. It'll make life a lot easier, and even for people living outside the region, because that unlocks so much new opportunities to go to school, go to work, everywhere in between in a lot less time.
But for this potential to become reality, Toronto must address key challenges: finishing construction on time, securing long-term funding, and ensuring coordination between all levels of government. SmartTrack began as a bold promise to fix Toronto's transit woes. A decade later, it's a scaled-down version of what was once envisioned. But its story offers valuable lessons for the future of transit in our city. SmartTrack's promise of 22 stations and 50 free kilometers was bold, but the realities of funding, politics, and planning turned that vision into something much smaller. SmartTrack wasn't just a Toronto project. It relied on Metrolinx, provincial funding, and federal cooperation. The delays we've seen underscore how vital coordination between governments and agencies really is. Municipal transit plans cannot succeed without support from federal and provincial partners.
At the end of the day, you really want to just support that investment and support that expansion. Even if it's not perfect, let it happen or encourage it to happen in a positive way. Because at the end of the day, the best and cheapest transit is the transit we build today. It's not going to get any cheaper unless we get a lot smarter about building transit. Make it sensible, make it efficient. Think about the value of this investment that we're making. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good transit.
For future projects, governments and agencies need to be upfront about challenges, setbacks, and changes. Transparency builds trust and keeps residents informed. Toronto's future depends on transit projects that are ambitious, but also realistic and collaborative. Lessons learned from SmartTrack can help us deliver better transit on time and on budget. SmartTrack is a story of ambition, challenges, and lessons learned the hard way. As Toronto looks to the future, the need for better transit has never been greater. This is a reminder of the challenges in delivering transit in a city as complex as Toronto. Bold promises can inspire, but meeting those promises takes funding, planning, and above all, accountability.
Hey, it's Arushi, the person behind the camera and the script. If you want to advocate for your city and make a difference, join More Transit Southern Ontario. Okay. Hey, it's Arushi, the person behind the camera and the script. If you want to advocate for your city and make a difference, join More Transit Southern Ontario. Goodbye.